I paid £10 for all of this. And they say charity shop hunting's dead. Okay, now the room is looking clean and tidy. Welcome to this week's Ghetto vlog. And let's start off the vlog in the best way possible. Let's open some parcels, shall we? Okay, so kicking off this week's vlog a little bit later than usual. My whole house has been flued up. You know what it's like, parents out there, if you've got kids, they come in from school with germs, and yeah, all of us had the lurgy this week, and obviously, you know, guys, it was worse for me, right? The man flu. I had the dreaded man flu. So, during my cleaning montage, if you saw quite a few tissues in here, then that's why. Honestly. I was actually hoping to bring the start of this vlog live from the car boot sale, but due to the fact that it's rained for about 48 hours solid, unsurprisingly, the local car boot sale has been cancelled. We will still be going on a game hunt tomorrow, but I'll get to that shortly. But, I've got some nice parcels that I want to get into, so let's get straight into these. This is an eBay purchase. No, it's not an eBay purchase, I'm lying. This is, make sure it's correct. It is, thankfully. I'm going to sneeze. There might be quite a few jump cuts in this because, like I said, I'm still getting over it. But yeah, this has come courtesy of the Ghetto Gang. Shout out to the Ghetto Gang, right? My PS3 Essentials journey is almost at an end. By the time I've got I think there's about 30 that are in different European countries that I'm waiting on arriving here. Once I get them, I thought I was down to needing 8, but it turns out there's 3 or 4 that might not actually exist. I might be as low as 3 away from the complete full set of PS3 Essentials. I'll give you guys more information on that as and when we get clarity, but yeah, there's 3 or 4 that we've not found any real hard evidence of existing, apart from like some stock images and things like that. So yeah, we might have to expel some from the list. So I could be down to as little as 3 that I still need to hunt down and yeah, get bought and paid for. And obviously, due to how long it's taken me to get this one, this has been one of the hardest ones to find. I'm not sure if anybody else has found this one yet. Actually, I think Stu might have found this one. But that is Borderlands 2, and I was only able to find this due to some random link that the detective extraordinaires in the Ghetto Gang Discord were able to pull up, because this was in some random obscure French website which almost acts as like almost like an Amazon, if you like. It's just got different sellers for one stock photo, so you'll see a photo of this, but then there's like different prices, different options. I bought a couple of them. The cheapest 2, because obviously by the time you got postage and stuff, it wasn't overly cheap anyway. So yeah, when it arrived, as the correct version, sealed, absolutely delighted. Like I said, this is just not one that you find, and who knew, right, when we went into this journey that I'd be struggling to find games like Borderlands 2 on Essentials, but that's where we are, and like I say, hopefully the end is near. It's going to be a few weeks yet before I get all those orders in. I'm waiting on my good friend, a Polish pal of mine, to go over to Poland and bring some back, and I would say I've also got a lot of them waiting for me currently in Switzerland, but we're very, very close now to having the complete Red Spine collection of PS3 Essentials, and that's a big step on that journey. So yeah, really happy to have that. And this next one is a gift. This is courtesy of my friend Brad. You know, as many weeks goes by, right, where Brad doesn't send me something. He's such like a great hunter. He's always at the car boots. I don't know if he's got the best car boot links or if he's there at crack of dawn, because he always finds good stuff. First thing in this bag is Streets Disciple, the Nas album. This was a double disc. I don't remember this being his best work. You know, Nas the GOAT for me. I'm a huge Nas fan, but I don't remember putting a lot of time into listening to this one. Much appreciated, my friend. And these are games that he found at a car boot sale. So he messaged me and says, do you have any of these? And I said no, and I should have known that that would mean he'll send them to me. There's also a copy of Graduation in here as well. So we have got... Ah, yes, now I remember. Right, okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So we've got a copy of The Last Remnant. So these aren't games I know much about. This is a Square Enix RPG, I believe. Just games that I don't already own on the 360. Speaking of 360, we had some amazing finds on Wednesday's video, right? Hopefully you guys have seen that. If you haven't, I'll put a link below. One of my best ever CEX lotteries, hand down. We've got a lot of work to do on the 360 area, so we'll probably get into that on this vlog because I've got so many games that need housing. I've got no room to do it, so we're going to be doing some big changes over there. But yeah, we've got The Last Remnant. We've got... What else is in here? Enchanted Arms. Not one of them much about. Ubisoft. Looks like another RPG. And one that's actually been on my radar for quite some time. I don't think it's an expensive game, but it's one that's always intrigued me. I've always thought I'll pick it up one day. And that is 99 Nights. I think there's also a 99 Nights 2, which might be a bit more hard to find. But yeah, massive shout out to Brad as always for his generosity. And this is what it's all about. Not this one. This is just something he's thrown in. So this, oh wow. So this is a poster of Streets of Rage and Golden Axe. I'm assuming this would have come with one of the games, potentially with Streets of Rage originally. I'll have to check that out and I'll put that in my copy if I don't already own it. So that's awesome. Great artwork as well. But this, I could not believe it when he pulled this out the bag. He sent me a picture of this on Instagram and I just, such a random thing to own. He doesn't own the game anymore. I'd never thought I'd find this. I just thought, you know, it's one of them things. I live in hope, but no expectation. Until Brad sent me a picture of this. Check that out. So if you watched, I don't know if it was last week's vlog, the week before, we found that copy of the Batman game. Very rare copy with the sleeve cover that I've never seen before. I just found it sat in a crack converters for $1.99. And I was gutted when I got home and looked into it and saw that it was missing a poster, but quite expensive online. Best part 30 quid with the poster. So yeah, to now have that complete, and what amazing artwork. I mean, look at that. Absolutely made up with that. I mean, he was saying to me that he got rid of the game but kept the poster, but it's been sat in a drawer ever since. It's one of them real random, like, coming togethers of things that people have randomly kept over the years, and now it's gone to a very good home. So massive, massive shout out once again to the legend that is Brad. Absolutely amazing stuff there. Great way to start the week. Thank you, my friend. And then we move on to this. This is something very special indeed. So, longer term viewers of the channel may remember, I don't know if I posted it on my Instagram, I don't think I've still got the video, I'll try and find it. There's a young man who watches the channel, and he's gone on to become a better hunter than myself. He's found some amazing games out in the wild, and I was sent a picture of a birthday cake that he had made. He had a Super Nintendo birthday cake, and yeah, very special young man, and I sent him a video, sort of thanking him for supporting the channel and stuff, and they sent me a lovely video back of him watching it, and yeah, it was very sort of heartwarming stuff. Really great to see, you know, this young man enjoying what I do, and also sort of like inspiring him to go on his own hunts and stuff. And
someone's talking to you.
I just want to wish you a very happy 13th birthday. I'm still here under my Super Nintendo collection to match that fantastic Super Nintendo cake that you've got. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. Keep collecting, play your games, keep it retro. Have a great day, my friend. All the best.
Oh, how do you feel?
It's a special birthday, mate.
I didn't know at the time, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his granddad is the owner of JJ's Junk and Collectibles, I think it's called, in Matlock. Great shop. I always go and visit whenever I go to Matlock. I'm actually overdue. I need to go there soon on a hunt. An amazing shop. One of them shops that's just, you never know what you're going to find when you walk in. There's always really cool stuff in there. And he reached out to me and he managed to come across quite a few of these. He knows somebody that was a printer in the 90s and they did work for, I believe it was Nintendo. So, I mean, already it sounds good, right? So he found a few of these and he said, given, you know, what I've found my grandson is and, you know, sending the video, etc., I'd love to gift one to you. I was made up because this is, yeah, like I say, we're talking 90s original Nintendo. I'm going to be very careful opening this. So, that's not too bad. I suppose that looks weird to you guys. He told me it smells. Right, this is, wow. Right, sorry. I got lost a bit there. This is an original from sometime in the 90s. A promotional Acclaim Mortal Kombat t-shirt. So this would have come out. I mean, what year did Mortal Kombat come out? Let's have a look. All that messing about, and I can't even see the date on the box. I'll put it on screen now, the date in which Mortal Kombat came out. Either way, it was a long time ago. So to have an original promotional t-shirt still in the sealed packaging from that time, and I'm not going to rip this open, I'm not going to get it out. He sent me a lot of warnings. He said, look, don't wash it. He said they smell. And all these different like warnings he gave me. There's no smell to it. No smell at all. But yeah, I mean, what a piece of history. To have like an original Super Nintendo Mortal Kombat promotional t-shirt from way back when. But for me to have this piece of like history and Super Nintendo history at that, very, very happy. So massive shout out to them, much appreciated. And young man, if you're watching, I hope you're still doing well and I hope you're still out on the hunt. But yeah, I am absolutely delighted with that. And what a great start to this week, right? Some fantastic pieces there. So that takes me to this week's game hunt. It's only a couple of weeks ago, I think, that I went to Kirkby Sales and Exchange. And normally I like to give it a bit more of a gap. I like to keep these things varied, I like to go to different places. But we're going there tomorrow because I said on last week's vlog, when I installed my logo light, that this had to go. So this was like an imitation shield from the original God of War game. I just don't have the space for it, and I can't keep holding on to everything that I can't display. And Kirkby are so good with their pricing, and they gave me a really good price for that. So I'm going to take that and a few other things down there tomorrow, which gives me some guilt-free spends in their fantastic shop. And every time I go, there's always new amazing games in their inventory. So we're going to go there tomorrow. We're going to go on the hunt. We're going to no doubt come home with some fantastic games. But I'm going to go further afield from there as well. I'm going to go to various different CEXs that are in the area and different stuff. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But for tonight, switching back again to Wednesday's video, I'm going to play Castlevania Lords of Shadow. It's currently installing now. As soon as that's installed, I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play that. I've never played one of the more modern 3D Castlevanias before. So I'm very intrigued by it. Looking forward to it. And I often say how when you get an amazing like piece, as that collector's edition is, it gives you that impetus to play the game. And it's definitely done that. It's sort of like giving me that real drive now to see what the game's all about. So I'm excited to play this. And yeah, that's me tonight. I'll check you in the morning. And yeah, we're going to go hunt some games. Let's go. Right, okay, so as you know, I love Kirkby Sales and Exchange, and today has done nothing to change that. If anything, it's strengthened the bond. I've come away with 5 games, really good stuff. One in particular, retro banger, at an unbelievable price. Unbelievable. Traded all my stuff in, got some great stuff, and had some cash to spare. So yeah, as always, can't say enough good things about Kirkby Sales Exchange. Obviously, we'll look at everything that I bought once we get back, but now I'm going to do what I normally do when I'm out this way, and I head to Sutton in Ashfield. There's a CEX there. I don't know if they've got a game, but I want to go to a game because I don't know if you guys are aware, but at the moment, games used section is 50% off. There's some absolute steals. It's been on for a few days, so I've probably missed the boat to some extent, but my local game's terrible. It's just like a little corner of a Sports Direct. So we're going to fly to Sutton in Ashfield, and then maybe somewhere else from there. I might go and try and find a game if there isn't one in Sutton, but yeah, let's go and get it. Okay, there was nothing in the CX for me. I thought I caught them slipping at one point. Once again with the same game, the Star Wars Force Unleashed with the Sith Edition, had the Essentials, but they only had the standard disc, so I left it behind. Change of plan, I was going to head to a game. The nearest game from there would have been Mansfield. Best part of a half an hour drive, and looking online, it looks to be one of them games that's a part of a Sports Direct, so I'm not going to drive all that way just for what could be a corner in a store. So we're going to head to Alfreton, which is a mecca for charity shops. So we're going to do some charity shop hunting. But on the way is MacArthur Glen Designer Outlet Village. So I'm going to have a quick fly around here, see what we can find here, and then we're going to go hit up some charity shops. Okay, so since Kirkby Sales and Exchange, it's been pretty much a bust. Hopefully Alfreton can turn that around and make it worthwhile heading this way. There's a plethora of charity shops. There must be 10 in this small area, so we're going to go hit them all up and see what we find. 20p video games. I mean, can't say fairer than that, right? 20p.
That's what I've got at the moment.
Okay, lovely.
And they're all on the 3 for £1 offer.
Oh, fantastic. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll take a quick look through them.
Okay,
Thanks,
yeah.
lovely. Appreciate it.
There's just one on the top there as well, Karen. On that pile of DVDs just inside the drawer.
Charity shops aren't dead. I paid £4 and there's some bangers in here. Yeah, man. That's more like it. I'm long overdue a fantastic charity shop hunt, and this was it. I paid £10 for all of this, and they say charity shop hunting's dead. Let's get back and take a look. Okay, it's actually the next day, but that was more like it. Yeah, I think I said in the footage, I was long overdue a good sort of charity shop haul. I've had the odd find here and there, as you guys have seen on these vlogs, but in terms of going out specifically to an area, hunting all of its charity shops and coming away with a bag full of games, it's been a long time. And that's where we're going to start these pickups. We're going to look at the charity shop finds, and then we'll get into the fantastic stuff that I got from Kirkby Sales and Exchange. So, you guys will have seen on the footage, I couldn't leave this behind, right? I'm not a Monopoly collector. I think there's quite a big scene of it. You see so many different variants now of Monopoly, but this had been reduced down from £12 to £6, and that was enough really to tempt me in. I love the artwork. I'm not a massive Pokemon fan. I like the OG Pokemon games on the original Game Boy. I liked watching the original series. So the original, what was it, 151, 152 Pokemon, I forget. And this is very much that, right? This is Kanto region, this is Ash, this is Pikachu, this is everything that I sort of love about Pokemon. The artwork's fantastic, and little man enjoys watching the Pokemon as well. I only let him watch the old ones. He doesn't know about all the new stuff. So we watch a lot of the old stuff together. So yeah, this is something that the whole Ghetto family can play and fall out over in due course. This sells for, it cost you the best part of £20 to get this posted online, so £6 wasn't a bad purchase at all. And yeah, could not leave that behind, that's for sure. So happy with that. And then let's get into the games. So first place I went into in Alfreton, I asked if they had games. The guy came out from the back, and initially it just looked like the sort of games that you see quite a lot in charity shops that nobody wants. But there was a few in there that were worth buying, and I said, how much, mate? And he said £1. So I started picking up, I got 5. And then when I came to pay, he was like, just give me £1. I was like, I thought it was £1 each. He's like, nah, nobody wants them, mate. They're taking up room. Give me £1. I said, all right. So yeah, these worked out to be 20p each. Nothing amazing in here, but definitely worth picking up for that price. So we've got Lego Marvel Superheroes. I think the only one I don't own, let me have a quick look, as I'm sat in front of my 360 collection. No, I don't think I own this one, so this will be getting added to the collection. WWE 2K15. Monster 4x4 World Circuit on the Wii. One of my favourite games, Far Cry 3. And Lego Harry Potter Years 1 to 4. So I mean, for 20p each, they were all well worth picking up. And I just want to quickly say before we get into the next lot, now's the time to go out and get the 360 games from charity shops, because Wii and 360 are the games that I find the most. You see them everywhere you go in charity shops. And with Xbox 360 prices rising, as we know, they're not always going to be in charity shops. There's going to come a point where people are hoarding them, keeping a hold of them. Even the lesser titles are starting to get a bit of value. So now's definitely time to ask about backroom charity shops, because yeah, pick up the 360 games now. The only dilemma would be, I think now, do you trade them straight into CX, or do you sit on them for a few more months and see if the values go up even further? But speaking of asking about backrooms, both of these finds came from me asking. None of these were on display in the shops. And I used to say this all the time. This is a bit like early 2023 vlog, right? In terms of me saying, asking the backroom and showing all my charity shop finds. But yeah, you still got to ask about backroom pickups. And This one, I think I caught some of the conversation on camera. I asked if there was anything, and she came out, and then she said there were 3 for £1. Same as DVDs, all media, 3 for £1. So I picked up 9, some of which were punts, but really good punts that I was really happy with. So yeah, there's some really good stuff in here. And we'll kick off with a bang. You may have just caught the tail end of the conversation that I had as I stopped filming. So I was like covert filming, I don't sort of walk in like that and put it in people's faces. She brought the games out, and then the other woman said, oh, there's another game on the top there. And I'm glad she did, because that game was Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PlayStation 4. I think there's a little bit of value in this one, actually. I think this is £8 trading. So yeah, I'm glad that she reminded her about that one. So that was a good find. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto 5. This was a bit of a punt. This was the only one that probably didn't work out. That was Madden NFL 16. At 3 for £1, I wasn't going to stand there with my phone out, looking at values. Whenever I see more obscure sports titles, I think it's worth picking up because you just never know. There's no value in that one, but that was the only one that was probably not worth picking up. But again, at 33 pence each. And then we've got Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Ghosts, and this next Call of Duty game I was very happy to see. And I knew there was value in this one, thanks to a fantastic video that came out this week. I've got to give a shout out to Ross at Bahaha. Ross has made a fantastic video all about the A to Z of Xbox 360 collecting. It's like an hour and a half long. It's a full comprehensive overview of everything that's Xbox 360 related and collecting for it. I can't praise that video enough. There'll be a link in the description below. Make sure you go and check that video out. Ross makes some fantastic content. I love this style of video from him. So yeah, more of the same, please, my friend. And he highlights early in the video that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is the Call of Duty with the most value on the system. So as soon as I saw this, I thought, yes, thank you, Ross. Grab that immediately. There's actually £6 trading on that one. CX are selling that for £10. So yeah, really happy to have grabbed that one. And then there's Fear 2, Project Origin. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Sadly, the 2012 version, I think, not the 2005 version, which has gone ridiculous in price. I think they're the right years. And then these next two were punts, which paid off. Because like I say, for the cheap prices, I wasn't going to stand there deliberating which ones had value, which ones don't. I don't collect for the original Xbox, but I thought there's a chance that this might be worth picking up. So I picked it up, and that is Need for Speed Underground 2. And then when I looked into it, it was worth picking up. This is sold for £8 at CEX. And that then takes me to this one. So I was standing there, had 8 games, and I knew for a fact that most of the others didn't have any value or weren't worth picking up. It was like PC games or just stuff that, yeah, FIFA 14 or whatever. And there was one game I thought, well, you never know. I'll grab it anyway. Peppa Pig on the Nintendo Wii. I'm glad I picked this one up. I mean, it's not going to set the world alight, but CX sell it for a £5. £3 trading on it, so, you know, worth picking up, right? And yeah, that £3 pretty much paid for paid for the whole bundle. So all in all, we picked up 14 games on this hunt. CEX sell this for £66. I paid, what, £4? £4. 66 value. With the Monopoly, I paid £10. You're looking at £86 value. Not bad, right? For what was like a 15-20 minute walk around a town. Really, really happy with that. There's a roughly £35 in CX voucher there for me as well. So yeah, buoyed by that, you know. It's definitely getting harder. I've always been a huge advocate of charity shop hunting and finding, and if you go back to the early vlogs, it was a weekly thing where I'd come back with bags of games and telling everyone that charity shops aren't dead. They're not dead, but they might be on life support, but it's still worth going in. It's still worth checking as often as you can, because yeah, you have days like today that, you know, it's definitely worth going out and picking them up. But really, really happy with that. And I needed that because, as I say, I went to the CEX in Sutton and Ashfield, didn't find anything. MacArthur Glen Designer Outlet was a waste of time, as it usually is. So yeah, I was really happy with that. So I was starting to think to myself, maybe I should have just gone straight home after Kirkby Sales and Exchange. But speaking of the fantastic Kirkby Sales and Exchange, let's take a look at these games that I picked up, right? Because I've got some real good stuff here. The first one I picked up I want to show you is The Godfather. So if you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm sure you already own that. You spoke about it on Wednesday's Xbox 360 video. You are absolutely right. But the reason I picked this one up is, annoyingly, the version I got was via eBay, and the side was all sun faded, and then the seller didn't tell me. and it will annoy me over time when it's on display in the area. So for the fantastic price that this was, with the bundle, this pretty much ended up getting thrown in for free when I looked at the receipt this morning. So yeah, it's not really costing me anything. I'm going to switch this one out and I can get the equivalent trade-in on my version, which is slightly sun-faded. So that's the reason why I picked up The Godfather. And loads of people since that video as well have told me that's a really good game. So yeah, it's definitely one I'll be playing soon. This next one, it's just complete blind buy. If I see like a steelbook or something I've not seen before for £5, I'm going to pick it up. And that is on the Xbox One, Tower of Guns. So you see it comes in this like steelbook. This is actually quite rare. It says limited edition on it. I checked, there was none in the UK sold or listed for sale. There's a few sold, America, Germany, that kind of thing, for half decent money. But yeah, seems to be somewhat of an uncommon one, this one. The game itself is a 2015 roguelike first-person shooter. It features procedurally generated levels, and you basically have to ascend 7 floors of a tower, and you get various different guns at your disposal throughout each playthrough, and the story each time is random as well. So theoretically, it's got a lot of replayability, this one. Reviews are generally favourable. It's tending to get like 8s out of 10 across the board, and for just £5, that's the price CX are charging for the standard copy of this game, so really happy to have found that and be adding that to my collection. I don't add many Xbox One games, but when I do, they tend to be games of this sort of format, right? Steelbook, special editions, that kind of thing. And yeah, I was really happy to find that for just £5. And that takes me to this next game. I should say, I say on the footage there's 5 games. One's going to be held for a future video. So there's a couple more that I want to show. Obviously, I'm on a bit of an Xbox 360 kick right now, and I'm trying to get some more of the heavier hitters, some more of the expensive games, some more of the mid-range games that are going up quickly in value. And this falls into that category, and that is Silent Hill Homecoming. This is a 2008 Double Helix developed survival horror game. It's the 6th installment in the Silent Hill series. Homecoming follows the journey of Alex Shepard, a soldier returning home from war, to find his hometown in disarray and his younger brother missing. Very polarising reaction, this one. It was the first Western developed series game in the series, and from all accounts not quite as fear-inducing. I asked the good people over on the Ghetto Gang Discord that know more about these kind of things than me. We've actually got some professional reviewers in there, and the general consensus of this one was that as a standalone game, it's okay without setting the world on fire. It's a decent playthrough, but it's just not what fans of the series wanted. It's not what you expect from a Silent Hill game, so I think for that reason it fell quite flat. It doesn't meet the standards of the previous games in the series, but as I say, apparently a decent playthrough if you look at it, you know, objectively through non-Silent Hill rose-tinted glasses. But for me, one I'm happy to have. £18 on this is a great price. I think CX have got this up for 20 at the moment. This is one of them ones I can see going up in value. You see this quite often as a trend throughout video games. Some of the games that I thought of as being lesser in a specific popular series and are somewhat shunned early on, over time they become expensive. I'm thinking about games like Castlevania Chronicles on the PlayStation 1. There's also that Castlevania One-on-One Fighters game on the Wii, and there's loads of other examples of almost the black sheep of the family over time becoming quite expensive, and I think that will happen probably with Silent Hill Homecoming. So yeah, it's worth grabbing now whilst it's in around £20, I believe. And I'm not a huge survival horror fan. I'm not a big Silent Hill expert. I'm going to admit it. I've never played through a Silent Hill game. I think this might be the only one I own. Shock horror in the comment section, right? I'm hoping for a Silent Hill 2 remake, and then that'll be my entry point. So for me, this is probably perfect. I could throw this on with very little expectation and see if it's a good time. And yeah, like I say, I'm just going for a lot of those mid-range Xbox 360 games for my collection right now. Speaking of which, I'm sat right in front of it, and we're gonna do some work on the 360 area straight after filming this segment, because yeah, there's a lot to be added to this already full section. But yeah, really happy with that. And then that takes me to what is without doubt the find of what was a great day. Every time I come back from Kirkby Sales and Exchange, I always come back and think, wow, like what a great price. I'm really happy to have found this. And that game is PlayStation 1's Strider 2. This is currently out of stock on CEX, and if it was in stock, it would be £105. A mint copy of this is £140, and I've got to be honest with you, if I was to trade this into CEX, I would want this as mint. There's not a mark on this. It doesn't look like it's been touched, doesn't look like it's been played. And guys, this was just £50. Unbelievable. Yeah, The only reason I can assume this game was still there for £50 is that it was displayed in the glass cabinet with just the spine on show, so you couldn't see the pricing. But yeah, absolutely delighted to be adding this to my collection. This features both the original Strider and the second game in the series, 2 different discs in this box. And it's Capcom's 1999 sequel. Well, it was in the arcades anyway. The PlayStation 1 version was released in the year 2000, and it's actually the second sequel following US Gold's attempt that wasn't very well received, shall we say. I've got that one on the Mega Drive, and yeah, it's not the best. But this one is made by Capcom, unlike that one, and by all accounts, this is a very good game. And what I love about this one is that it's 2D character sprites laid over 3D backgrounds, and the gameplay remains similar to its 2D side-scrolling predecessor, which is perfect. I love the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, but for me there's too many early PlayStation 1 and 2 games which are early 3D, and it just don't work for me. And that's why I don't collect things like N64, Sega Saturn, etc. There's a lot of things I don't collect for that reason. So when I can find games that are still done on a kind of like a 2D plane with throwback imagery to that kind of those sprites as this is, that's right up my street. I absolutely love collecting games like this. So yeah, really happy with that. And as you've seen on screen now, it's a beautiful looking game. It's set approximately 2,000 years after his defeat in the original game, and the mysterious Grand Master has returned to once again finish his plans to gain control of the world. And you're tasked with stopping him, and you now have even more moves at your disposal than you had in the previous game. You've got a dash, slide, double jump, etc. And this game was very well received. It got sort of like 89%. IGN gave it an 8.5 out of 10, and like I say, looking at the images of it, it just looks like something I'm going to really enjoy. So this is one that's going very high on my list of games to play. And with it featuring both games as well, yeah, really happy with that. And for that price, like I say, I just can't say enough positive things about Kirby Sales and Exchange. Part of me wants to keep that a shop to myself, but you know, guys, I love to share with you the information that's out there. And yeah, if you're ever in that area of the world, make sure you go and check out Kirby Sales and Exchange. Fantastic staff, great people, great store, great prices, and they give great stuff on trade-ins as well. As I say, I took my shield and a few other things that allowed me to make these purchases today, and just delighted with everything that I've come back with. I'm not going to lie, I'm still struggling with the man flu. Yesterday was a bit of a struggle, right? Even now, I'm constantly sort of like taking on fluids and cough sweets and stuff in between takes so I can get my words out. But yeah, it definitely made it worthwhile when you come back with such fantastic stuff. And now it's a case of putting all this stuff away. There's loads of games that I've built up as usual here in the room, and I think the first port of call is to find a way to extend this 360 area, so let's do that. Okay, so the plan for the 360 area is to make better use of this. So when you add a riser from IKEA to a sort of half billy, which ends here, it gives you this sort of awkward additional height where you can get DVD sized games in, but then there's not really enough room to do much else with. You can go smaller with the PS3 and then you can get Game Boy games in, but I've only got so many Game Boy games and so many things I can fit in a gap that size as well. So my thinking is to better make use of this space and to be able to fit more games in, take this shelf out and potentially double stack games. So for these 2 rows will be double stacked. It might mean these games slightly protruding, but that's okay, I can live with that. So the plan is to find something which can raise the games at the back to the perfect height so that they are in the back but they're accessible. I can easily pull them out, but we'll keep them in place and, as I say, at the perfect height, and you can just still be able to see the title of the games behind, so you can still find them as and when you want them, although they will of course be in alphabetical order anyway, so it will all run from A across that way as it is now. So that's the loose plan. It will give me a lot more space, so I can add a lot more 360 games to this area. So yeah, let's take a look and work out exactly what I need. Right, okay, so I've got all the measurements that I need. I think I'm going to go to a hardware store, pick up a piece of wood that should do the job for me. But it actually works surprisingly well, better than I thought it would, in terms of how much the games will protrude. So if I just show you guys, if I put these here for now as an example, you can see that it barely protrudes at all. There's really not much in it. It's not really going to bother me. I've got it so that these are going to sit with a slight gap at the top, so ultimately it will look something like that. So you can still see the titles of the games, and yeah, it just gives me that double stacking capability. What I might potentially do as well to clean it up is get Kev to cut me another piece of this, so he has this like Fomex stuff which replicates the shelves. I can always maybe get them potentially slightly thinner. I can sit that on top of these green spines, so it just gives it that more uniformed white clean look when it's all said and done, and I'll still have the games behind. It'd be easy enough to just pick the shelf on and off, and I think that's probably the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to now measure up this side of things, and yeah, then we're going to head to a Wix or somewhere, go and get some wood, and hopefully get all this changed around. Oh, looks like my SNES wall. Okay, so this is the stuff I've spoken about a few times now. What I'm going to need for the Ghetto Gym to fill those gaps, stop the weeds coming. So apparently you just brush this, wet it, and then that sort of sets like a cement around all the cracks. So yeah, might be worth grabbing one of these. Right, okay, unfortunately I didn't come away from B&Q with the cuts of wood that I wanted. Due to the sizes that I need and the incompetence of the staff, that's another story. I left without the wood that I needed, but I did grab a couple of things for the Ghetto Gym, which we're going to be cracking on with next week. So not an entirely wasted trip, and I'm going to see if I can still do the 360 area when I get back, just by potentially propping up duplicate video game cases, that kind of thing. We'll try and do like a bit of a for now job. But obviously, with me venturing near the town centre, you know I've got to go and check out the local CEX, right? So let's take a quick look. Okay, so I managed to grab a nice game actually from CEX, and against my better judgment, out of pure desperation because of how good the sale is, I'm going to once again try my luck at the local game. Every time I come here I get disappointed, but I'm hoping they've got a used section. Like I say, 50% off. It's that tiny, they've probably not even got one, but let's go and find out. Okay, so my local game is as terrible as I remember it to be. No used sections and no 50% off for me. But as I was leaving, disgruntled, I found a game for just £8 that I've been after, so I'm not gonna lie, it was worth going. Let's go back and take a look at everything I bought. Only I could go out for a piece of wood and come back with 2 video games. And I'm going to start with my CX purchase, a nice bit of retro, PlayStation 1, a game that I didn't even know existed, Capcom Generations. So this is various arcade ports over 4 discs. This was released in Japan over 5 separate discs, and we got 4 of them in this compilation here in Europe. The 5th one was a Street Fighter compilation that came as a separate entity, unfortunately, but there's a lot of value for your money here anyway. So as I say, it comes with not only 4 discs, it comes with 2 instruction manuals and a total of 13 different games. It also comes with like loads of additional artwork, character selections, all that kind of thing. And the first disc is called Wings of Destiny. It comes with 3 shmups, 1942, 1943 Battle of Midway and 1943 Midway Kaisen. The second one is Chronicles of Arthur. As you might expect, it's Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Goblins, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is the only one I think which isn't an arcade release. That was actually the Super Nintendo version of the game. Disc 3 is basically some of the first ever Capcom releases in the arcade. There's one called Vulgus, one called Sun, and one called Pirate Ship Higamaru and X'd X's.
And then finally, and arguably the one I want to play the most, is Disc 4, which is called Blazing Guns. That features Commando, Gunsmoke, and Mercs. And yeah, I just think it's a really cool compilation to have. I thought to myself, it's not one I'd ever seen before. I'm not massive on the PS1 library, admittedly. I've not been collecting for it too long, really. Previous to my all killer no filler shelf, it was just sort of like as and when I came across them. But yeah, this cost me £18, and there's only 3 copies of this in stock at CEX now. So yeah, definitely an uncommon one, and this is in really nice condition. So wasn't going to leave it behind, and I think it's really good value for £18. So yeah, very, very happy to have found that one. And then that takes me to my game purchase. Game, the shop, that is. So as I say, I went in there as the usual rubbish, tiny little corner. I was disappointed because there was no used section. If you have got a game, make sure you go and check it out. Actually, you might be lucky enough to get the 50% off used games. But yeah, this is a game I've been after for quite some time. It's come highly recommended from my friend Ross at Vahaha, who's played through it I don't know how many times on every console possible. And that is every middle-aged man's dream. Power Wash Simulator. Everybody that I know that has played this has loved it. Apparently it's just really relaxing, and it's one of them games that I actually originally wanted on the Nintendo Switch. It seems like a Nintendo Switch game. It seems like the sort of thing that I'd want to have the portability of, play it in bed, that kind of thing. But there's no physical release on the Switch except for one of them code in a box things, and I don't want to go down that route. If I love this game as much as like Ross, for example, I might buy it digitally and have it on the Switch as well, but I did want a nice physical copy of it, so I'm going to test it out on the Xbox One. And the irony of this is I'm actually borrowing the father-in-law's jet wash next week. We're going to make a start on the Ghetto Gym, so I'm considering this to be practice, right? This is for research purposes. But yeah, now I'm back. We can turn our attention once again to the 360 area. Now, as I say, I wasn't able to get the wood cut, so I'm not sure how much we can do, but I'm going to take a look and see if we can get anything sorted out without the wood. Okay, so quite a crude way of doing it, but to be fair, it seems to be about the perfect height. I've just filled this temporarily with duplicates and games and things that are going to be future giveaways and stuff, DVDs, anything random that's not on display in the room. Luckily, everything turned on its side is pretty much bang on the height I want it to be at, with the game sitting on top of it. So it's now giving me that platform to at least test it out, see how it looks, see whether I'll be happy with it. I'm going to repeat the same on this side, and then I should hopefully move some things around and be able to show you what it looks like double stacked, and at least then we'll know if it's something that I'll be able to live with in here. Okay, so what I've done is I've put one row in, just as a test. And originally I wasn't quite sure. I was thinking, well, I'm not sure if I like it. But, if you bear with me, if we take a piece of shelving and pop it in, obviously this would have to be cut. The depth of it would be cut to the right size. But if we go to eye level, it looks so much better, so much cleaner. And then we've not got all that dead space there because we've got it filled with games. I think that'll really work. 2 shelves cut down to the right level, running across the top of the first row of games. Yeah, it gives us so much more space to play with because it's effectively more than just a whole row, because this obviously takes up quite a few games worth of space. So you've got all of that now, and then we'll do the same on this side, including what sits behind the Darksiders collection, which sits there. So there'll be some games running behind there potentially as well. And they'll still be easily accessible. It's easy to take these shelves off. It won't even be a full shelf. It'll actually be a piece of that Foamex from Kev, which is really light. So, I mean, yeah, I think whilst at the moment we've got to trust our vision because it's not completed, I think it's going to work. And yeah, it's going to buy me a lot more space in the 360 area because there's still quite a lot of games I want to add to this collection. Also, I just want to say, how lucky did we get that putting DVDs on their sides is exactly the right height? Look at that. It's got exactly the lip that I need. Couldn't be better to the millimetre. So I don't even need to worry about paying for and getting pieces of wood cut. Just going to grab a load of old DVDs from the house. Yeah, that just worked out really well. And that is going to do it for this week's Ghetto vlog. A fantastic week, a bit like an old school vlog. A lot of hunting, successful charity shop hunts, and It's what I needed after last week. Last week was a lot of game room improvements, so it's nice to go out and get on the hunt again. And yeah, there's loads coming next week. We've got loads of stuff to do, including finishing up this 360 area. Still got all those Mario toys that we picked up on last week's vlog, but we've still got to find a home for. We're overdue a montage because we didn't get to one of those this week. There's Ghetto Gym work to be getting on with, and there will of course be the inevitable video game hunt. So yeah, keep it locked to the channel if you're not already. The winner of Wednesday's giveaway is on screen now, so the copy of Dark Void, congratulations to the winner. And yeah, man, if you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so. It's much appreciated. If you enjoyed this one, press the thumbs up button. As always, play your games, keep it retro. Have a great Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday with your family. I'll see you on Wednesday in a bit.
You're watching the Retro Ghetto.
Ghetto.
Ghetto!
Yeah.
Lock into the retro ghetto. Come on.